n'avez pas entendu parler du Facteur?
Les nouvelles du Facteur.
If you're watching this right now, you are missing a rare primetime address from Joe Biden. Biden doesn't give a lot of those for obvious reasons, but tonight's topic is worthy of the occasion. America, ladies and gentlemen, is under attack, and not from our usual enemies. The threat we face tonight is existential, but is not coming from barefoot religious extremists living in caves. It's not the Chinese government. It's not even Vladimir Putin himself, the most diabolically evil man in history. No, ladies and gentlemen, this threat is worse than all of that, and it's homegrown. As they say in the horror movies, it's coming from inside the house. The single gravest threat to America today is Republican voters, all 75 million of them. They are Nazis and destroyers of democracy. They must be stopped. That is the message of Joe Biden's speech. Just moments ago, he referred to MAGA forces who are apparently marshaling at Red Lobster near you, ready to take over this country. Now, to underscore how deeply Joe Biden means all of this, tonight's address in Philadelphia is not being categorized as a campaign event ahead of the midterm elections, which is what it looks like. No. Instead, this speech has the full sponsorship of the White House. In other words, what Joe Biden is saying right now is the official position of the entire executive branch of the U.S. government. That would include the Justice Department, the various intel agencies, and the world's most powerful standing military. Think about that. Does it make you nervous? You don't have to be a Trump voter to see a speech like this as a turning point in American history. For hundreds of years, the U.S. has had a political system comprised of two competing parties. If you were to declare one of those parties criminal and illegitimate, what would you be left with? Well, you'd be left with a one-party state. And that is what Joe Biden is calling for tonight, a one-party state. It's shocking. You may have trouble believing it's even happening, and yet it is, live on television right now. And yet, and here's what we're here to tell you, believe it or not, there is an upside to this catastrophe. Even as you watch your beloved country take a turn you never imagined possible, there is reason for hope. American liberals may have obvious dictatorial ambitions. There's no question they do. Only would-be dictators fear free speech and an armed population. But just because liberals long for a one-party state doesn't mean they're going to get one. They won't. In the end, they don't have the skills to pull that off. Liberals are too incompetent to overthrow democracy. And that's obvious from history. Every successful authoritarian revolution has had two things in common: a coherent worldview and a competent military force. Lenin, for example, Lenin had the writings of Karl Marx to provide an ideological justification for his revolution, and he had the military genius of Leon Trotsky to pull it off. Together, these two things were enough to topple the Tsar and take control of the world's biggest country. For all his power, Joe Biden does not have these two things. Marx and Trotsky? No. Joe Biden has Taylor Lorenz and Mark Milley. Lorenz is the ideological anchor of the Biden White House. She's its muse, its Che Guevara. They are inspired by her revolutionary fervor. But Taylor Lorenz does not write weighty books. Twitter is her canvas. And having surveyed her oeuvre, we can tell you that Lorenz's main idea appears to be that anyone who doesn't wear an N95 mask in the shower is a racist. That's the sum total of her ideology. Now, there are probably several dozen people in Cambridge who agree with that, but it is hardly the basis of a popular movement. It's not Marxism, it's whining. So that's the problem for Biden. And then there's Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Milley is Joe Biden's Leon Trotsky, but without the brilliance or the cool mustache. Mark Milley is a buffoon. He couldn't even manage to successfully withdraw forces from a country that wanted them to leave. Mark Milley's only victories take place at lunch. Pizza is afraid of him. No one else is. So these are the people who are trying to bring us a one-party state. For the next several minutes, we'd like to show you the face of Joe Biden's revolution. It is heartening. The next time you feel afraid for the future of this country, the next time you think, these people actually want to hurt me, because obviously they do, remember who we're talking about here, and you'll feel better. Now, we're going to start tonight with Joe Biden's Minister of Information, a person called Karine Jean-Pierre. Karine Jean-Pierre may be the most self-discrediting spokesman in the history of revolutionary politics. She makes Baghdad Bob from the Saddam years look dignified. She's literally beyond belief. Here she was on Monday.
Somebody unvaccinated comes over on a plane. You say that's not okay. Somebody walks into Texas or Arizona unvaccinated. They're allowed to stay. Why?
But that's not how it works. Like, we actually, no.
I know that that's not what you guys want to happen, but that is what has happened.
But that's not, it's not like somebody walks over and that's not how.
Exactly what's happening. Thousands of people are walking in a day. Some of them turn themselves over. Some of them are caught. Tens of thousands a week are not. That is what is happening.
It's not like someone just walks over the border. Karine Jean-Pierre laughs at that idea and waves her hand. So there are two options to explain what's going on here. Either Karine Jean-Pierre doesn't have a television set and has no idea what's happening in America right now. That's entirely possible. Or, we think this is more likely, she has seen the tape but just doesn't recognize what it is. She cannot discern people just walking over the border when she sees pictures of people just walking over the border.
Vous n'avez pas entendu parler du Facteur?
Les nouvelles du Facteur